Hello, I'm the Reverend Naomi Barraclough. I'm a pioneer minister in a rural benefice and I live with my family in a village just outside Blackpool. About 6 months ago, we welcomed a new baby into our family. It's been an interesting experience having maternity leave during lockdown, but I've actually enjoyed having this time with the four of us and the dog. And my eldest has really taken to having a new baby around. He's so loving and caring towards them. When they cry, my eldest sings them a song or says, there, mummy here, daddy here. It's really sweet to watch. But be under no illusion, things are not perfect. There is plenty of screaming and crying in this house just like anybody else's. Plenty of screaming and crying. In fact, not long after the baby was born, my mum sent me a video explaining that babies have specific things they try to communicate with you. Apparently, there are 5 distinctive cries, meaning different things. One cry means that they're hungry, one that they're uncomfortable, one means that they're tired, etc. The video claimed to be able to interpret these cries and to give you, as the parents of a new child, the ability to do likewise. Now, this is very appealing as you sit with a 3-week-old who's crying for seemingly no reason. So I watched this video over and again, trying to hear the different cries, trying to tell the difference between the noises, and to see which of them my baby was making. It was hopeless. I couldn't translate what I saw in the video, where all these babies were calmed, into a reality in my life. I still had no idea what the noises were supposed to mean. Now, 6 months on, and at times I'm getting better at interpreting what both my children want. The baby does now make noises I can differentiate and work out what it might be. Their most recent one, as we sat at the table having pudding together, they were crying and crying in the high chair until we worked out what they wanted was the strawberries. It takes time to understand a new person. This is the thing. It takes time to understand and get to know any new friend or colleague, new relationship, child or neighbour. I've known my husband for over 10 years and we've been married for 8. And there are still so many things that we don't know about each other, ways that we misunderstand and surprise each other. I'm sure you can relate to this in whatever friendships you have in your life. There's always more to learn about people. Our Bible reading today gives us a window into the disciples' relationship with Jesus as they try to get to know him more. It's taken from Matthew 14 and tells us about a time when Jesus met the disciples by walking on water towards a boat. Jesus has just miraculously fed thousands of people who had been following him and listening to his teaching. He sends the disciples off in a boat and he goes up a mountain to find some time alone to pray. Then, close to morning, as a wind is raging, he goes to meet the disciples, walking on the water in order to reach them. The disciples are understandably terrified. Though they've been travelling with Jesus for a little while now, they don't recognise that it is him walking towards them. In fact, their first assumption is that it is a ghost. See, Jesus is doing something unexpected, presumably something they haven't seen him do before. It is astonishing, surprising, very out of the ordinary. No wonder they don't jump to recognise that it's Jesus. Jesus responds to their fear. Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid, he says. As though this is going to really calm them down. I mean, great, he's saying it's Jesus, but it's someone who's walking on water, defying gravity, seemingly doing the impossible. That's when Peter speaks up. If it is you, Lord, tell me to come to you. What? Hang on, Peter, what are you doing? It's blowing a gale, it's not yet light, and a person is standing on the water in front of you. Why on earth would you suggest they ask you to meet them out there? What about, if it is you, Lord, come to us? Or, if it is you, Lord, stop the wind? Or, if it is you, Lord, can you just confirm your mother's maiden name and the first line of your address? But this whole account is about the relationship Peter and the disciples have with Jesus, about getting to know and trust him. If it is you, Lord, tell me to come to you on the water. This is Peter learning Jesus' voice, learning who he is, learning to trust him, to meet him in the unexpected. Peter has just watched Jesus feed thousands of people. He's been watching him heal people, confront the authorities, challenge people's assumptions. He's been listening as Jesus teaches them and others, as how Jesus tells them about the kingdom of God. Peter has been listening, learning, questioning, testing, observing. He's working out that Jesus is trustworthy, that Jesus is good, that Jesus saves. He's training his ear to hear the Lord's voice. But we know what happens. The wind rages and Peter begins to pay attention to the storm. He gets scared. You can imagine the thoughts whirling in his mind. Oh my goodness, what have I done? I just stepped out of a boat into the lake in the middle of a storm in the early half light. I clearly haven't had enough sleep. How can this be? I mean, who even is Jesus? Oh, Peter, why do you never think things through? Why do you always do and say before you've had a chance to process it and think it? Oh, what's that feeling? There's something very cold now. Oh my goodness, my feet are in the water, my knees are in the water, my middle. Oh no, I'm sinking. What should I do? Jesus, save me. When the doubts have crept in, when the fear has taken over, Peter again turns to Jesus and cries out to him. Peter has learnt that in a crisis, he can call on Jesus. In the midst of his fear and doubts, when he gets confused again, he can shout, and Jesus will lift him up. We'll start again. We'll teach him again. We'll show him again. We see this pattern throughout Peter's relationship with Jesus. Over the course of knowing Jesus, right from the beginning of their relationship, there are times it seems Peter gets it. Times he declares that Jesus is the Son of God. He is the Messiah. And then there are times when he seems to forget, to get confused. Times he can't even do the simplest things like stay awake. And times he outright denies ever knowing Jesus. Even in these moments, the pattern is the same. Peter gets it wrong, but he goes back to Jesus time and again. When he messes up, he cries, Lord, save me, in different ways. Lord, teach me again. Lord, show me again. Lord, help me to understand. He is always learning, always watching, always wanting to know more, to know Jesus better. And even though he makes mistakes, the relationship is never broken beyond repair. The door is never closed. Peter has reached the point in his relationship with Jesus where he is able to step out onto a lake in a storm because they have invested in getting to know each other. This has taken time. Peter has practiced putting trust in Jesus time and again. Peter has made mistakes. He's not put that trust. He's got it wrong, but he has tried again and again, practicing each time what it might look like to put trust in Jesus. Sometimes in films or TV or books, we watch characters building relationships with one another. We hear them getting to know each other, learning what they like and don't like, having fun together, sharing hobbies, discussing big ideas. And often these characters may say to one another, I'll never let you down. You can always count on me. Or I'll always be there for you. Or I would never hurt you. Or you can always come to me in a crisis. They make for good monologues when declaring undying love, but they're fairy tale lies. As humans, we will often let each other down and frequently hurt each other. There will always be times we can't be there for someone we love, and we will regularly make mistakes. But what makes strong friendships are not the ones with the absence of any road bumps. It is the friendships that have weathered the storms, that have gone through the ups and downs, where people have made mistakes, been honest, and worked through the difficulties. It is these friendships that are the strongest. Over time, Peter and Jesus strengthen their relationship by getting to know each other, learning about each other, by working through their difficulties. When he makes mistakes, Peter doesn't run away and hide forever, though that may be how he feels. No, he comes back to Jesus, and Jesus is always welcoming back, ready to try again. Peter doesn't get it, but Jesus keeps teaching. Peter sinks, Jesus rescues him. Peter denies, but Jesus forgives him. The relationship is never broken forever. It is always fixable, always redeemable. And we too are invited into this relationship. We are invited to learn and develop, to grow and deepen our relationship with this same Jesus. Perhaps, well, most likely, our relationship with Jesus won't involve being asked to get out of a literal boat and walk on water. But it does involve getting to know Jesus, practicing putting trust in him, spending time learning who he is, learning how to hear his voice, and practicing that trust and responding to his call. There are some things from this passage, from Peter's life, that might help us as we do this. First, it is important to keep questioning, keep practicing listening to Jesus and trying to recognise his voice. This may often involve checking that it is Jesus as we pray. If it is you, Lord, show me. If it is you, Lord, let me know. Help me recognise you. This may be especially true when God is working in unexpected ways in unusual times. Second, it's important to remember that sometimes trust does take time. Trust is built up, grown slowly. It's based on experience and comes through relationship. Spending time intentionally with Jesus will help it to grow. We can pray, worship, and read our Bible to get to know Jesus. We can talk to each other, sharing our stories with each other of who we know Jesus to be, the way he speaks to us, our times of experiencing trust, the ways we have failed, and what Jesus has done. Thirdly, it's important to remember that the mistakes are part of building the relationship. And when we mess up, when things feel out of control, we can reach out once again saying, Lord, save me. You may not feel you yet have a relationship with Jesus. Or maybe it's just at the beginning. Perhaps your relationship with Jesus has been building for a while. Perhaps it's been being neglected. Perhaps at the moment you feel really close to him. Sometimes we find it easy to trust, sometimes it feels impossible. No matter what our fears, doubts, and questions we have, Jesus will meet us in them. No matter how long we have denied or ignored, Jesus will forgive and still be with us. No matter how confused or uncertain we are, Jesus will take the time to teach us and help us to learn. Where are you in this story? Maybe you're in the boat, thinking you could never take that step out. Maybe there are things in your life where you're questioning, Lord, if this is you, show me. Perhaps you've stepped out of the boat and you're walking towards Jesus, filled with faith and trust. But perhaps you've stepped out of a boat before and felt let down, like God is just letting you drown. Or are you someone for whom the storm around you and inside you, the environment you are in, is so loud you've lost sight of Jesus? Stop trusting him when you once did. I pray that wherever you are today, you may know that Jesus wants to spend time with you. That as you say, Lord, save me, you may know the hand of Jesus reaching out to you. That you may be filled with a trust that is stronger than your fears, and that you may know that no matter the mistakes, no matter the storms, your relationship with Jesus is never too broken, never beyond